Alistair, Norton Mayfield, you've grown over the past few years.
We have, yes.
What sort of work do you do? What are you? What do you do?
Okay, so we're architects and we specialise in mostly doing residential development, and that's a mixture of working with existing buildings or taking sites where have no buildings or the buildings have no value in themselves. And I guess we specialise in doing difficult sites that are awkward. So yeah, that's mostly what we do. But then we also do similar sort of things for other uses. So we're currently working on Barnsley Civic, which is a big art centre, and then that is an existing building which has got a lot of underutilised space. So we're helping them work out how to use that. So very exciting. As I say, we specialise in dealing with quite tricky sites and dealing with the existing buildings. We do everything from working on people's houses, so extensions and things like that, but that's not our core work. And you know, projects that are kind of up to £5-10 million in construction cost. So as I say, Barnsley Civic is one of the bigger ones we've got at the moment. We have housing projects in London which are a similar size, kind of 26 flats is one of them working at the moment, and that was making use of an existing residential block but extending it and, well, quite massively overhauling it. So yeah, but we're actively seeking to do more work with housing associations, certainly locally, and I personally have experience of doing that in the past, and I'll be very lucky that I've been able to work on a mixture of social housing and private developer housing, which is great, but it's not something we've done in the last 10 years, so we're very keen to
I think that's Johnny downstairs.
Yeah, so it's great. It's one of the great things about
We can hear Johnny building his furniture.
Yeah, it's luckily we don't need a perfectly silent space to work in, because we get guys making things downstairs, and then later in the day,
people in the courtyard.
Yeah, people in the courtyard, which is great. And then at the end of the day, you get the neighbouring buildings with their uninsulated band practice rooms, which can be great. Sometimes it's not so great, but it's all great. It's part of the fantastic atmosphere here.
So if people want to find out more, have you got a website?
We do. So it's nortonmayfield.co.uk, and you can find out more information about what we do and our approach. Okay, so why wouldn't you be in Sheffield? Sheffield's great. So yeah, we love the outdoors, and yeah, I'd lived with my family in London for quite a few years, hence the connection with London projects, and moved to Sheffield not long after setting up the business. Probably assumed that we would have more work in Sheffield over time, but actually that was 2017 when we moved, and not long afterwards, it was financial crash and things like that, so work kept coming from London, whereas at that time it was probably quite difficult to be starting out. So we're only just now really kind of establishing ourselves locally, and that is a big drive for us, is to do a lot more work locally.
But one of the reasons to be in Sheffield is the quality of the life.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. So the outdoors, the Peak District, Sheffield itself, pace of life. I didn't sleep properly for the first few nights I moved to Sheffield because it was so quiet. I was like, kept waking up, I can't hear anything. Very different to London. London's great, and we really enjoyed our time there, but Sheffield edges it, definitely.
And like, where do you get your stuff from then? Like, who else chooses to work out of Sheffield in the architecture world? So
we've been. I don't think it was purely. It wasn't a plan that we set out to do, but it's what we ended up doing. So when we first started taking on staff, we tend to take on more junior graduates, and those people, or some of them, have been with us a long time now and have gone on to qualify as architects and become quite experienced architects themselves. So we've never taken on a fully qualified architect. So most of them, I'm trying to think now, I think all of them are graduates of either Sheffield University or Sheffield Hallam University. So even if they're not from Sheffield themselves, and a few are, that they chose to come to Sheffield and actually chose to stay here. So they wanted to be in Sheffield. So yeah, because a lot of graduates do go to London in architecture because there's a disproportionate amount of architectural practices in London.
But you've got that link with the universities, and it's actually works really well to offer the opportunities in Sheffield and keep the people in Sheffield who otherwise might have to go and live in London.
I think, yeah, definitely. So some people go to London because that's where they can get a job, and that's certainly what I did in the 90s and the last recession.
So one of the things you did was to bring in a laser cutter.
Yes.
Tell us about your laser cutter and your models.
So we originally got a laser cutter because at that time we were very interested in digital fabrication, and we were going to Access Space, who were based near Persistence Works, and they have a kind of open access fabrication space which included laser cutters and then eventually a CNC cutter, which stands for computer numerically controlled cutter. So it cuts big sheets of plywood and things like that. So it meant that we were, I suppose, interested in furniture originally. So if you haven't already, you can take a photograph of some of the desks which are cut on a CNC machine. So the laser cutter is great to prototype something at small scale, which then you can then make at large scale because you're cutting a sheet material, so it's the same process. But as well as that, we can then make our own architectural models. And the one on the left, if you look at it, is a proper architectural model that we produced for a project that we're working on, a planning application. The ones on the right are prototypes for us finding ways of quickly producing models, because it's very time consuming making models and very expensive, and it's not always worth it. In fact, in 11 years, I think, I might have to double check, I think that's the only model we've ever been paid to create. So whereas, because we create 3D computer models on the computer of things that we're working on, and then from that we then produce two-dimensional drawings or three-dimensional depending on the need, we've got that information such that then we should in theory be able to turn that quickly into a physical model. And it's great to see things on the screen, but it's also great to have a physical model in front of you to help us in our design process, but also to help conversations with other people. But
so the clients can visualize.
Yes, the clients, or whether you're speaking to planners, or even when you get into construction, and well, especially the main time is if you're speaking to lay people. So if we're doing consultation, which it's rare that we get to do quite deep consultation, that we're mostly showing people drawings. But occasionally we've done a few community projects whereby we actually get to work with the community. So it's really useful. So if we can continue the prototyping, which we have to find the time for, because we're not getting paid for it, if we can find the time to do that, it's something then we can put into our regular workflow, which will be great for us. So, and it will almost certainly end up being a combination of laser cutting and 3D printing in the end.